The number one overall commit for 2024, the five-star quarterback Dylan Raiola is now committed to be a Georgia Bulldog. And as you can see, we're all incredibly excited here. I'm one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert, joined. Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for it.
Who's that?
I can't even be mad at it.
Down the tracks. Who's come on, T-Bob? You have to say
Who's
it back.
that coming? Okay.
It's a mean machine in red and black.
It's a mean machine.
Ain't nothing finer in the land.
Nothing finer in the land
than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.
And a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Unfortunately.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Go
No, stop.
Dogs. Sick 'em.
Oh, my God. Doing entirely too much at the end there. Unfortunately, it looks like the steady supply of drunk, obnoxious Georgia fans is likely not going anywhere. As I said, Georgia looking as unstoppable, more unstoppable than ever. Because, as if Georgia, of all schools, needed the number one prospect in the entire country, a five-star quarterback. I mean, really think about this, right? Like Stetson Bennett was great. Okay, we know that. We know all about 4-0 and playoff and championship games and the 4 MVPs in those games. Really good against great competition. He beat out all, like Stetson Bennett was great in terms of results. Physically, it's not anything to write home about. So you know what's fucking terrifying? UGA, if they suddenly get someone who actually is a transcendent talent at quarterback. And like one that lives up to the billing. Like what the actual fuck, dude? What are other teams supposed to do? He's 6'3", 230, and he's 17 years old.
Just bow down to Kirby, baby, because we thought Nick Saban was the GOAT. Kirby's about to go on a run, and already is on a run that is going to rival what Nick Saban has done for the past, 14 years. So he's younger. He's more energetic. He's won more at a younger age than Nick Saban has. Kirby Smart is about to rewrite all the records, and he's about to make a statement that I am the best. Right now, he is the best. You and I had a show with this, a couple weeks ago, SEC coaches. Kirby's the best coach in the SEC. He's the best coach in America right now. Nick is coming down the mountain. Doesn't look like there's anyone even close to what Kirby's doing right now in building. Yes, it will be tougher with the addition of new schools in the SEC with a 12-team playoff. Yes, it's tougher, but Georgia is in the best position right now compared to anyone to have the most success over at least the next 5 years.
Yeah, we laid it out last week. I hated to do it, but if you listen to last week's shows, I had that rant just about the potential of Georgia, right? And it was all centered around that per capita line, that there's a state that turns out more people in the NFL per capita than any other state, including Louisiana. It's even scary because it is about triple the population in Louisiana. There is no other flagship you're going to go to. Nobody's going to Georgia Tech. You are competing and objectively the most talent-rich state in the nation when it comes specifically to producing NFL football players. You are competing with no one. And now you finally, what else was holding you back? Financial backing. And when we talk about Florida, it's funny because Florida maybe feels in a lot of ways like where Georgia was a few years ago. But, there's kind of been maybe a lack of financial investment. That's now completely out the window. They're building facilities, paying coaches, paying players, like they're paying everybody. Money seems to be overflowing. It's just it's a terrifying time. And as you mentioned, for others, I should say, not for you, Georgia fan, but then you mentioned the, trying to do things that Nick Saban has not. Well, that's on the docket this year. If you go and win a national for a third year in a row, that is something that Nick Saban has never done anywhere he has been, regardless of all the success that he has had at Alabama.
If Kirby does that, I don't think we're going to get in the conversation right now of who's the greatest of all time. Like I think you and I can both agree, Nick Saban, as of today, is the greatest coach of all time. What he's done since taking over for 15, 16 years ago has never been done, and I don't know if it ever will be done again. But Kirby's on the right track. You got to start somewhere. And it goes back to making it to the national championship, obviously losing it to Alabama. but then turning it around and winning back-to-back national championships, winning an SEC championship, getting that monkey off your back when it comes to beating Alabama, and then now being a heavy favorite when it comes to winning again this year. And what Kirby's late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in that world,
Yeah.
that ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like there's a I want to stop anytime soon. There isn't a sense of, hey, I want to go dip my toe in the NFL water. Maybe there is going to be a fatigue factor that sets in sometime soon. Maybe there's a sense of maybe boredom that sets in soon. But as of right now, it's nowhere close. Like, he is in his dream job. He played at Georgia, wants to be here. He loves everything that he does. He has the support from the state. He has the support from the fans. He has support from his wife, most importantly, because the man's never home. He loves to compete. The guy has more energy than anyone I've ever known. So I don't think that you'll see it, like I said, for at least another 5 years, slow down. At that point, if he does win one, maybe two more, then do you think the boredom factor comes in of, hey, maybe I do tip my toe in the NFL waters a little bit?
I mean, maybe, right? So much of Kirby's success seems recruiting related, though, and obviously that goes all out the window. And also, like, he does feel like someone who has aspirations of being the best college coach ever, and an NFL sojourn is a great way to kind of maybe ruin that or throw some. I mean, just like maybe if Pete Carroll never leaves, he's actually. Well, I mean, I guess he ended up winning a Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, like Nick Saban lost years of resume stacking to the NFL, so maybe Kirby did, maybe not. I think in things that could maybe get to Georgia, I think it would be maybe something just a bit more insidious and over time. I mean, you look at Alabama right now. What's Alabama really done for us to make them think they're going to be bad this year? They still have a super talented roster. They just stacked a number one
Yeah.
class that was unparalleled, the little record holder. They're still right on the edge of the playoff every single year. Like, they may have a down year this year, but they're still going to be as relevant to a championship as anybody is next year. And so to me, it's not that Georgia will ever get bad, but I could see, like, I think we are at the height of how ahead of the curve Georgia feels. Like, I don't
Yep.
know that you're going to have many years where they feel this separated from the pack. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I just feel that this is a weird year for Alabama where they can have all this talent and still be so down. And you're year two of Brian Kelly at LSU, so it feels like a super long race. And I guess in the immediate future it is, but I mean, look, he's it's hard after 15 years to get people to buy in the same way that you could at the beginning, right? And so
Yes.
ultimately
Yep.
for Kirby, it'll be, can he stand the test of time? Let's talk about Raiola a little bit here because he should have been on the Corn Hub. He did a little inverse of me where instead of being a disappointment to his father and becoming a sinner, my dad was a quarterback, became a sinner. He is the son of a 14-year NFL vet center, Dominic Raiola. Where Dominic go? To Nebraska. So, us in the Corn Hub really thought that we had a chance here on Raiola. Instead, imagine this. He's going to join Georgia. He's 6'3", he's 230. He
Mm.
drives the ball. I don't know. They said he's not the most athletic, but he just seems to be a freak in every regard. And because Georgia just enjoys having an embarrassment of riches, I was reading about Ryan Puglisi, the quarterback out of Connecticut, who's like the sixth-ranked quarterback in the country, already committed to Georgia. He is on the record as saying he welcomes the competition and will not be going anywhere. Which I still think you can, maybe we'll talk about tampering. I still think you can maybe get to him and get him out of there. But yeah, as
Oh
of
yeah.
now, Puglisi and Raiola are both saying that they welcome the competition and both want to go to Athens.
Well, I listen. I will say this as someone who committed to Georgia, knowing that there's going to be two quarterbacks going at the same time. Me and our boy Menberger both knew. Like Bobo told me, it's like, hey, we're going to get two quarterbacks in this class. We have to. At that point, they kind of needed to because there was a lack of quarterbacks on the roster. This is a little bit different. Georgia's loaded with talent. They have 4 and 5 star guys already
Yeah.
on the roster right now that are young. Gunner's a redshirt freshman. Brock is only going to be a sophomore. Like those guys have 2, 3, maybe 4 years left if they decide to stay in Athens. So not only do you have to show up and compete with them, now you got to show up and compete with the number one quarterback in the country that is going to be given every opportunity to be the starter early on in his career. So I don't think he stays. I wouldn't. I guess I'm a little. No, I'm not going to say I am. I'm not going to, because I did. I decided to compete against Met, but it was only me and Met. You're now having to go in
Yeah.
there and compete against 3 other guys. So I don't think he stays. I don't think tampering is going to have anything to do with it. I think it's going to be more of, hey, man, like, let's be realistic about your chances of going somewhere. Let's not waste your one-time transfer after a year when you figure out that this is not the spot for you. So we'll see. We'll see if Kirby can keep his magic up. But I think the real question is going to be, I think Carson's good enough to go one and done. Carson's a stud. He himself is a big kid, has everything that NFL scouts want. He's big arm, he's accurate, can drive the ball down the field. I think he's going to have a very impressive season, a season that's going to be good enough to go, like I said, one and done. Then it comes to Brock and Gunner, who are on the roster right now. Very different quarterbacks and what they can do. I think Brock will be the favorite to be QB1 heading into 2024, unless Dylan just absolutely is wow in spring football if he decides to come in early. I think Gunner's the one I want to focus on. Does Gunner decide to leave after this season, knowing that it's probably going to be a Brock versus Dylan heading into the 2024 year?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have,
It is a good problem to
feeling
have.
like you have too many capable quarterbacks. And here's the added just salt in the wound if you're someone who doesn't want Georgia to win, is that this happens right ahead of a massive recruiting weekend in Athens when they're going to be having a bunch of guys who are trying to commit in town. And so now, especially this already went on, certainly when we were being recruited there, but I think it's even really heightened now. But the idea of peer-to-peer recruiting, right? Like telling your boys, like, hey,
Yep.
I'm going here, you come here too, let's squad up, let's go win a championship, blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. So now you have the number one quarterback in the country doing that on a weekend where the top recruits in the country will be in Athens, and they'll be looking at the new football facility, they'll be looking at the new indoor, they'll be hearing about the renovations being made to Sanford Stadium, as well as the new recruiting room they're putting in. They'll see the back-to-back rings, all the highlights, the NFL first-round pick statistics, and
Yep.
Kirby Smart is getting dangerously close to creating something that I thought was replicable, which is the self-sustaining perpetual success machine.
Yep.
It's something that I describe as Nick Saban having built in battle, where it's like, okay, you get the best players to win championships, and you continue to win championships because you get the best players. And eventually it's like, hey, if you're a 5-star, you commit here, you go to the NFL and you leave with the ring. Like that becomes the pitch. And it's so easy that then what do you really have to do? It's
Dude,
a,
they have four 5-star commits for the 2024 class already, according to 24/7. 4 5-stars. They're number 4 right now. They have 11 commits. Michigan has 17. Ohio State 13.
yeah,
Notre Dame has
exactly. But they're
16.
number 4 with 11
But the number,
commits. It's the key there.
yeah, they're number 4 with 11 commits, with 4 being 5-star players. Like you get 25 4 and 5-star guys. That, as you've said before, I think you've made the best point about the whole recruit. Like, I don't look at the individual player unless you get a guy like Raiola here. I look at the overall. Are you getting enough of these big time star players as a collective group? Tells you the health of a program. And right now, this is just essentially par for